Don't mind me. I look pale, like a pale little ghost, but that's fine. Because the weather's really, oh, okay, the sun, she's coming out for me. That's so sweet of her. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. My name's Amanda. If you're new, here on this channel we talk about sewing, crafting, acting, lifestyle, whatever I feel like talking about these days. And today I wanted to give you a quick little update about kind of what's been going on with me, but also I have some things I hold. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you want to see what I'm working on, what I'm hauling for the things that I'm working on, keep on watching. Okay, so quick life update. Like I said, I do talk about acting here on my channel. I'm an actor based in Cleveland, Ohio, so Northeast Ohio. Lots of theater going on. Just closed a show this past weekend, which was so absolutely lovely. But I'm also a costume designer, so I have another job that's pretty much been lining up around the same time. So back to the old grind, working on some design for that, which was my day before I came here to film today. So yeah, I've been working on that, but then the main thing I've been working on in terms of crafting is, well, one, I haven't had a chance to do any sewing, which such is life when you get asked to do any type of design for other people, it's just less time for yourself, and life is getting in the way, and life is getting in the way. Ooh, I'm so sorry I bumped you. You good? Great. In the meantime, I have been learning some new skills. So I already knew how to do some hand embroidery, not very well, I will say, but I do know how to do it. But I was commissioned for a special project that's coming up later this year that I have been filming the process of. I just can't post any of it before that project is out to the client. And it involves possibly learning some timbre embroidery. So I have been going hog wild with getting supplies for timbre embroidery, learning the skill of it, being able to practice. It's been so fun. If you want to see me work on, like, do some practice work on camera, I'm no expert in this by any means, but it has been so lovely to do and be able to just like have this thing that is effectively crocheting on fabric, which is so cool to me. A couple of things that I've been working on mostly have just been practice runs. Like, this is the thing I'm about to show you is my first like design with practicing. And I just really wanted to practice using beadwork. I'm going to add some sequin work onto this eventually. This was previously on a hoop stand so that I could work on it, but this is a little seashell that I've been working on. So this work here has been done from the top. Ignore this. This will actually disappear after a while. And then this, I'm actually practicing working from the bottom because I learned that my little seed beads are too small for my hook. So I have been learning how to work from the bottom very slowly, as you can tell. All of this maybe took me like an hour to do, but this little in-between pieces with the seed beads maybe took like 3 or 4 collectively so far. But I've been really enjoying it, and I'm really trying to slowly build up my skill so that I can do this on more intricate work that is going to be photographed and on display. So this is really just a practice piece that I'm going to turn into like a wall hanging. And to get all of the supplies that I needed, of course I already had, in my case I actually already had the quilting thread, so that was really helpful to already have that. But then I did, in mini quest to the craft store, I did get other types of quilting thread to experiment with. Excuse me. Oh my god. Oh my god. So the first one I experimented with was this like Coats and Clark bold hand quilting thread. And it's like a glazed thread, and it's a nice thread actually. I was kind of surprised. However, I realized it's pretty thick. In fact, it is too thick for timbre. So in case you were at Joann's looking for threads to do any type of timbre with, this is definitely like a heavy duty quilting thread that is too thick, at least for beading work with seed beads. I feel like this would be great for thread work. This is the beading, like the thread work that I did on the outside to kind of outline my shell, which I took a stock photo of a seashell and just traced it from my iPad, so it wasn't anything fancy. All right, what's happening? Okay, you're good. So yeah, great for some thread work, but for the bead work, really not the best. Even with like the largest seed beads I have, this was really, really thick. So I'm hoping that I have some other quilting threads that I found. There's a smaller hand quilting thread from Coats & Clark that is 100% cotton, which I'm very excited about. And also, a lot of the stuff I got from Joann's this past weekend as they started their liquidation process. My local Joann's is closing, which I'm very sad about. There is another local one to me that is staying open, but man, I'm really bummed that I have to go farther away for notions and things, because I was never really a Joann's fabric shopper. So I did also get some Gutermann hand quilting thread that I heard was really good, so I'm anxious to try this, but they didn't have any white at my Joann's, so I just got the black. So yeah, so that's what I got for the timbre. And then in terms of the beads, these are a mix of some different bead colors that I have strung onto my thread to practice. It's called the Loonville method, which is the method that you use to go up from the bottom of the work to put the beads onto your project. And you string them beforehand and then crochet them in that way. I'm no timbre expert. I am just learning. I have learned maybe how to do this in the past 2 weeks while trying to take my mind off literally everything else that's happening. But a few months ago, I got a kit of like just silver lined seed beads, also from Joann. This is before they announced the bankruptcy, so I got this at full price. So I have been kind of using this as a way to convince myself to practice more difficult techniques, and having them on hand has been really helpful, but I am now addicted to buying beads. So there's that. And with timbre embroidery, you also need to like have a way to hold your project, because unlike standard hand embroidery, you need both of your hands to do the timbre work. So I did get this wooden embroidery hoop stand off of Amazon, and I liked it at first, but I found that it only goes so high. So if I'm working in like my living room, it works if I'm working on a small project, but if I wanted to work on something bigger, it wasn't working for me. So I have since purchased, it is not even out of the package yet, I'm just gonna conveniently hold my address here, a full-size timbre frame that I can stick onto my workstation. So hopefully I will be able to set this up and get it dressed so that for my next larger project I can use the full-size slate frame instead of the embroidery hoop frame. It wasn't really working for me for this, even for this project. I just found that I kept wanting to find new ways to adjust it and figure out what stools might be tall enough to work it. So great if you're sticking to your couch, this guy, but not fantastic for anything else, unfortunately. If you are still interested though, I'm actually gonna link anything that I can find down below. I probably won't link anything that I got from Joann's just because of the issue with all their liquidation. It's kind of hard to find that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of where I am with that. And in line with my addiction to buying beads, I did get an organization kit for some of the beads that I got that were like in bags or pretty loose in various colors. There's also for some pre-strung beads that I've gotten in there that I have used for like practice or for this seashell project and have put into the organization as well. And then I also have gotten enough beads to bead at least 20 armies of people over and over again. Some of these are dedicated for projects. Like later this year, I do have a wedding guest dress that is going to be made with like an orange organza, and I was thinking at first that I would do more of a jogakbo method, and I think I still might do that. just not like a perfectly square jokakbo method. But I have been really obsessed with like sea elements and coral. So my hope is that I can kind of take some sort of, I kind of want to do some tambour work and like make like coral shapes into the bodice to make like a really beautiful coral dress. So I did get a bunch of beads for that that are specific to that project. And some of the beads here, like these gold, like these bronzy ones, and these like beautiful like flat beads that I'm obsessed with. They are also for that commission that I can't film before later this year. There was a recent change in design. So thankfully I was able to get some stuff for like 30 to 40% off in terms of getting them shopped. But just, gosh, so many beads. I got some shells that I can add to my seashell to kind of fill in gaps. Just like a crazy number of beads. As well as some like more loose seed beads that I got in these little packages here. Some larger ones to kind of work with larger work. I'm finding that I'm really loving texture work with these. So just some colors and some sizes that I didn't have that I really wanted to add for more dimension. If you know of a good place to buy sequins in store, anywhere, especially in Northeast Ohio, let me know. I am finding that it's quite difficult to find, you know, places to get this type of haberdashery work here in this area. It's a lot of like crystals and such. This was for an earlier iteration of that commission project, but they've since changed their mind, and this was as I was about to start practicing. I wanted to practice on different shapes. So I'm excited to see kind of where I can take this type of shape here. I just have so many, and things that I also would love even if they don't get used, and just like colors that I enjoy and like just textures and things. This is like, it's basically like when I first got into knitting and I just kept wanting to buy yarn. It feels a lot like that, tambour embroidery. So if you're like a crocheter and you want to get into tambour embroidery, do be careful, because it might, your hobby might also be, I love buying beads. I mean, look at them. Like, look at these. These are shells. Look at them. They're so gorgeous. Oh God, am I gonna have to be like a beauty guru again? Let's see. All right. So this is what they look like. Just like beautiful Baroque pearls. And they're like naturals. They like get cool and like heat up to the touch. There are some that are definitely glass that I got that I also thought were really pretty. But man, these I'm excited for, especially for this little seashell wall hanging that I'm making. I'm excited to put this on there and kind of give it some dimension. So I think, yeah, so those are all the beads that I got. I got so many. A lot of them I do know will be useful for the project. So that's why I kind of justified purchasing that many beads. I probably paid maybe $50 for all of them, if I'm honest with you. It was actually quite crazy how I was able to get them for pretty cheap, because the beads at Joann's were not very cheap at all. I also got some felt backing for my seashell project. There was no black, so I went with navy blue, but I actually kind of like how it looks together. It's mostly just going up in my little sewing room, so I'm not particularly plussed about how the backing looks. But I do really want to experiment more with creating other creations and things of that nature. So yeah, on top of that, I got some fabric Mod Podge. This was recommended to me by one of the associates at Joann, to help glue the back of the beads to prepare for the wall hanging. So I'm going to give this a try, see how it works. So yeah, I'm excited to try that. And then just an absolute boatload of embroidery floss. Just a lot of DMC, a lot of Anchor, just in some colors I'm going to need for the commission. The commission does require a lot of blues, a lot of purples. There's some gold in there. There's some green. Yeah, so there's that. And I also was struggling to get the thread into some of the earlier iterations of like timbre practice. So it was recommended that I get some beeswax. Pardon the thing. So this is just like a beeswax thread coater. It's already in the package, or I can just like take it out and use it that way. But it's got little slots in there so that I can put the beeswax in. I got that from Amazon rather than anywhere else, because for some reason the one at Joann was like $20 and that was like $6 for 2. So I'm gonna try them out, see how it works. Also, because I need to do some embroidering on blazers, I did get some smaller hoops of different sizes. This is just the smallest one that came in a pack, to be able to go into those smaller areas and do some embroidery on some blazers. So that, I got so much stuff, and it was a lot of stuff to have at one time, so finding a way to organize it has kind of been interesting. But yeah, just a really quick haul. I'm probably just gonna even just throw this up, not even bother with like going back and forth and editing. I just kind of wanted to tell you a little bit what I was working on, and show you all of the supplies that I got as a result. Oh, the other thing I got, so helpful. Why did no one tell me about this? None of you told me about this. This is a bead spinner. In fact, the beads for my seashell project, I'm going to try not to bend it over too much, are already in here. This thing has been so helpful, especially like stringing these little baby beads. These are wonderful. I love this. So that's been what I have been hauling. Let me know if you got anything at Joann and what you got. I did notice that the prices were kind of not as great for a lot of the things. Like the fabric section, the line for that fabric section was wrapped around like 2 times over for not that great of fabric deals. And I also never like shopping for fabrics at Joann, just because I prefer buying cottons or natural fibers whenever possible, and I find that I can get better prices for those types of fibers going wholesale than to spend more money for what is effectively plastic fabric. So I don't really buy fabric from Joann unless I am actually like down to the wire, last minute I need something, and Joann's is the only thing that's open. So unfortunately, the only other fabric store that's even close to me, in fact, it's walkable, it's a quilting store. And I mostly buy apparel fabric, so we get to find out what, I mean, I was never really shopping Joann for fabric anyway, but really I'm gonna miss Joann for the notions. So yeah, let's see where else I can get, you know, other notions and beading supplies. I'm obsessed with this orange. Like, look at this orange. Ah! So pretty. I cannot wait to be able to show you that project later this year too. So yeah, that's kind of my quick update. Still working on costuming projects, working through some commissions locally, have been doing some acting, and it's been taking up all of my time and energy. And that's where I am. So let me know if you've hauled anything recently, kind of what things you're excited to work on. Let me know if you want to see me do some practicing tambourine work. I've been interested in doing some, like, at the very least, body doubling work, like having a lot of work that I need to do and just chat with you over a live stream. So let me know if you're interested in that, and I'm happy to schedule that. It would be nice to schedule some time and, you know, come and craft with me and such. So yeah, that's where I am right now. Really quick update. If you like this update, please give it a like. And if you want to see more crafting, more sewing, or hear more about acting or getting into designing, let me know down below, and please subscribe. Until then, I hope you get the chance to outdo your standard every single day. Bye.